company, my first company. I actually just incorporated during the whole craziness of Fashion Week. I incorporated. Yay! I haven't really told anybody though. I just like do it. No, so I'm launching my vintage line, and I don't know if you noticed, but like my clothes I wear, most of them are like different, and a lot of the stuff I wear is vintage. And so people were like, "You're like the queen of vintage," and I was like, "Yeah, I like love just searching for things. Like that's something I enjoy doing." And so it's like I could launch like a vintage line, and since that's already what I do, and it still correlates with the sustainable fashion. And then during the summertime, I launched a bikini line.
Welcome back to the Empowered Woman, Badass, and Unfiltered podcast. And welcome to season 9. This is my most impactful guest season. And it's just an honor to have this one here today with me. Her name is Amanda Mirus, and she's a serial entrepreneur. She's been living in New York City for about 8 years. She was on my past podcast. I think it was season 2. We talked about how to create a sustainable fashion brand. And in that, we dived deep into so many different topics. So I'm going to have it linked below if you want to hear that one out. But we're going to talk about what she's done since then. I mean, and just to give you a little refresh, if you did not hear that podcast, she is the founder and CEO of Isabel LaRue, a sustainable fashion brand that focuses on slow, natural, and handmade items with a vintage line launching in the near future. She is also the creator of In Vogue Fashion Collective and just did their debut show during New York Fashion Week. Like how cool is that? How cool is that? She's also heavily involved in the Bitcoin and blockchain industry all the way since 2017. And she helps educate people on the topic. So you see like a lot of like Bitcoin people that really don't know what they're talking about. You see a lot of scams. This ain't her. That ain't it. So Amanda, I'm just so happy to have you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me back. I always love talking with you, so I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So tell me New York Fashion Week, how did that happen?
Well, so for my fashion brand, I've been featured in Fashion Week a few different times. But I know how difficult it is. So I had a vision for En Vogue Fashion Collective. That why I created it was because I know how tough it is for people to get featured in New York Fashion Week, and the industry can be very closed off. And so I wanted to create an inclusive environment for other people to showcase their work and their talents during New York Fashion Week. So I launched En Vogue Fashion Collective, and I had 2 other designers showcasing alongside me, and it was really nice. It was a lot of work, but it was very like rewarding, everything, seeing it all come to life.
Yeah, you're not the type of person to shy away from hard work at
Yeah.
all. I know this about you, and I love it. I love your determination. How do you like fit life into everything that you do?
It's balance. It could be difficult balancing everything. Like preparing for New York Fashion Week, that was like a whole nother beast. But I try to include other people in it and make it so it's like I can do stuff. Like the big thing with balance in like personal life is you can't guilt trip yourself. Like for me, like if I would go out to eat or something, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I should be working right now. Like I have to like realize like if this is a moment that I need to stay in and live in. And I can't like keep going because then I'll end up burning myself out. And you have to have balance in everything.
Not guilt tripping yourself.
Yeah.
That's a real one. Because it's like, you deserve a break too,
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
I understand, but I understand where that mindset comes from when you are a high producer, high like achiever. It is always like thinking, oh man, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. But it's like, why? Why are we doing all of this anyway?
And the reason why a lot of people want to like have their own business and be an entrepreneur is they want to be able to own their own time. So working like crazy and not giving yourself that time, then what is like kind of the point of it all?
Yes. So you would say like balance has helped you get to where you are today. What are some other things that have helped you get where you are today since we've like last talked?
So I would say like my daily routine is a big one for me. Like I have to like wake up and go to the gym because then that like focus and every morning I wake up, I listen to a podcast and then I go to the gym and I listen to podcasts while I'm at the gym. So like that is like my daily routine. And if I don't do that, I notice a difference. So like my day doesn't start as good if I don't like wake up and listen to my podcast and have my coffee and stuff. And I don't know, I just feel like something's missing and I don't feel as productive in a way. I don't know. Because a big thing is like your mental health as well. So working out, listening to podcasts, all of that stuff involves mental health.
Oh, for sure. I my morning routine, like on my like best days, it's like getting up, going on a nice walk, listening to like something motivational or a podcast, or like maybe it might just be Christian music or whatever it is, but it's listening to something that like inspires me. And then doing my devotionals and also like but being active, getting caffeinated and getting some vitamin D
Oh,
in my life. Those are the main things.
yes, yes, yes.
So yeah, your daily routine's a huge thing. Balance. What else? Like, how do you? Uh, what is something like you've been like working on? So for me, like a personal like soft skill that I've really been working on this year has been my ability to be unoffendable. And since I turned 30, it's now like I'm really focusing on contentment. Really got to work on contentment. Like, do you have any things like that that you're like kind of working on?
So, well, I do like a lot of mental health work and stuff, and there's so many different things happening right now in my life. Like there's a big transitioning going on with everything, and then I just have to remember like just because certain things you can't control, that doesn't mean that it's like out of control, I guess. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to like realize like you're doing this for a reason, like this is happening and everything will be okay and it's going to lead you forward. So I just have to keep reminding myself and like putting my faith into God and being like, oh, like this is okay. Like I do a lot of prayers and like Christian music. I listen to a lot of Christian music. So like I just have to realize and align myself and not let stuff hold me back. So one thing, like if I'm like an introvert outrovert, so like I love like being out and stuff, but then I also love my home time. So like if I'm home too much, I'll be like, okay, Amanda, like it's good that you're home and you're doing stuff, but also like you need to get out. And so like go enjoy yourself. So a big thing for me is like going to networking events and stuff like that, because I need to be able to realize that, like I said earlier, I need balance in things. And for me, like going out and like enjoying myself, that's one thing that I have to remember. Like you do enjoy this and it's okay, blah, blah, blah. Like you need to do that. So like I need to remind myself, especially living in New York City, there's so many opportunities and you don't know who you're going to meet. And I always tell people, I'm like, New York is like a really hard city, but if you love New York and you like put yourself out there, then the city will like reward you. So I'll make sure I remind myself to like go out, hang out with friends, or like go to a networking event, put myself out there. I can't just always be home because if I'm home too much, I get used to it.
I understand that. I understand that. And like being home is something that is encouraged in New York. But didn't you start like living partially in Miami?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. But I'm in
Yes.
New York right now. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because y'all, I keep up with Amanda on social. Okay. So like I got to like when she did New York Fashion Week and like was like interviewing people and stuff like that, like them auditioning, I'm sitting here like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like this is the coolest thing ever. I'm like your little cheerleader from that's in the Midwest
Oh,
that's just like, oh my God, my friend Amanda did this.
oh, thank you.
um what else am I thinking about that I'm trying to think about you doing? Because like you do a lot of stuff. And
Yeah.
like when you get on here and you sound so humble, like, yeah, I balance and I like, like you're not out here like doing like so much and constantly meeting people and constantly networking.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you said you're in a transition. I am in a major transition too. I think a lot of people are in a big transition, and it's like letting go of control is also what I was hearing you saying, and really surrendering, like being in a period of surrender. And see, last year I was in a really crazy period, like earlier this year, I was in a really crazy period of surrender. So it was more so like now I'm just like, okay, God, I already know what to do. I'm gonna just lean on you. Like I'm gonna just
Yeah.
like just go with the flow.
Seriously. So, I was really stressing out with my whole event and everything, and there's like stuff going wrong, and like that's inevitable. And I just had to like keep going with the flow. And I was leaving the office one day, and there was this song that came on. I didn't even press play on my music. I just had my earphones in. I didn't press play or nothing. And a Christian song came on. In the beginning, it just says, "It's gonna all work out sooner or later. Like it's
We're
okay."
great.
Yeah.
828.
Yes, that song started playing like automatically, and I was like, oh, I was like, thank you, God. That was like him winking at me, like, yes, okay, I'm okay. But out of nowhere, that started playing, and I was like, oh, okay, everything's gonna be fine. Amanda, relax.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, man, it's hard. I can only imagine how hard it is. So what made you start your second brand, your clothing line?
Well, I had my clothing line from that's like my original company, my first company. I actually just incorporated during the whole craziness of Fashion Week. I incorporated. Yay! I haven't really told anybody though. I just like do it. No, so I'm launching my vintage line, and I don't know if you noticed, but like my clothes I wear, most of them are like different, and a lot of the stuff I wear is vintage. And so people were like, "You're like the queen of vintage." And I was like, "Yeah, I like love just searching for things. Like that's something I enjoy doing." And so it's like I could launch like a vintage line, and since that's already what I do, and it still goes correlates with the sustainable fashion. And then during the summertime I launched a bikini line.
So
So
that's what the other brand is.
yeah, so
Okay.
it's still part of my fashion brand. It's just like another line. They're Bitcoin bikinis. So I started that because um I've been involved in like the cryptocurrency, well, Bitcoin and blockchain space since 2017. And we were going to the Bitcoin conference, and I was like trying to think outside of the box. The Bitcoin conference was in Miami, and I was trying to think outside of the box. I was like, how could I put my brand out there in like a different way? And I was like, oh, we're in Miami, I should do Bitcoin bikinis. And like I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And I sold completely out of all of my bikinis at the conference. And I was like, oh, okay, I think this is something I should do. So it was like crazy. I wasn't planning on doing that, but sometimes I feel like you just have to roll with things and evolve as things evolve, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, you that and I saw when you came out with those, I was like, oh my goodness, what like this is cool. Like I'm always so like interested in all of the different things you do. It's still like on brand. It's just another extension of you,
Yeah.
with all of the things you do. You're not one of those people that you could put into a box at all.
Oh,
And I love that about you because you just you see something, you go after it. You did say something interesting. You don't announce things very often. And I think that that's something that you learn over time. Like nobody's going to be as excited about your accomplishments as you are.
mm-hmm.
So like you just do them. And
Mm-hmm.
I hope you celebrate yourself. But it's like you just don't talk about it because it's like, what's your reason for not talking about it? Because I've got my own.
Well, so I used to say a lot of things about what was going on even before they would happen because I would be so excited. But not everybody, like you're saying, not everybody's as excited as you are. And sometimes I feel like having like evil eyes on you, like it could delay the progress because people are not as excited. They either don't want you to win or whatever, and or they just, I don't know, they have jealousy and stuff like that. So I wouldn't announce. I started announcing things, like, all the time even before it happened, and then, like, slowly they just didn't happen. So I was like, "Why is that always happening?" And then I was just like, "I'm just not gonna tell anybody because either I'm super excited and they don't really care, and it kind of shows people's true colors, or, um, I don't know, the things just wouldn't come to fruition." So
Yeah.
just stopped.
I've gotten to that point too. It's like I don't talk about things until like they're a for sure thing. And then I'm just with everything online too, it's just like so many people are constantly announcing all of these things. And I'm just like, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait.
Yeah.
I'm gonna and like, do they really need to know? Do all of these people really need to know all of these things about me or about what I'm doing? Because it's like I didn't really do it for them.
Mm.
I did it, I don't need, and I have this affirmation, I only seek the approval of God. And I'm telling you, like it has taken me so many places because it's just like
It's so true.
I don't need all that extraness. And
Mhm.
again, with those evil eyes, yes, there are people watching you and wanting you to fail, like just
Mhm.
praying for your failure. And just and it's just like, why are you so miserable in
Yeah,
your life?
seriously. It's so sad, and then I don't know. So I just stopped. Sometimes I'll, like, randomly post stuff, like, I thought about posting about incorporating because that's something I'm, like, really proud of. Like, it takes a
You
lot
should.
even to, like, become an LLC, and I actually, like, legally incorporated. So, like, if I wanted to, I don't know, have shares in my company, I could.
Mhm. Yeah, like that's a big thing. It's a
Yeah.
big thing.
But I had so many other things going on during that time, like, oh man, September, October, like my whole event, I planned it and executed in 30 days, my entire event, and it was like insane, the event I put together. And so that whole time I was like not doing anything else but focusing on that.
So, what are some things that you've gotten rid of since we've last talked? Like some like things that like you've trimmed the fat on certain areas.
Well, like I view things differently and I have more I wouldn't say appreciation, but yeah, appreciation for like people in my life that are like solid people.
Mhm.
Because I've done a lot of stuff, and then like my event, that was a big one. It opened up my eyes of like who is actually like there for me and like supportive of me. Like there's some people that came in that I had would have had no idea, like they showed up and they supported me like they were like a solid person by my side for something. So like that I really have more appreciation for, of like the people in my life that actually show up for me even if I'm like not expecting them to. And then yeah, just like being able to roll with the punches. That's a big one that I feel like I've always been okay with that because, like, I think I brought this up in my last interview with you. I've been on my own since I was 17. So I feel like I've had to roll with the punches for a while, but I'm just kind of like, I'm a gymnastic. What is it? I do gymnastics now. Like, I'm like, I just roll with it.
I think, yeah, building that resiliency muscle is so important when it comes to like business
Yeah.
and just life in general, and getting where you want to be or where the punches and everything takes you. Where,
Hmm.
because I don't think we ever truly get where we want. I think we're always on this like constant chase of something, you
Yeah.
know?
Especially as entrepreneurs, we always want to like keep going and climbing and climbing and climbing.
Yeah, but we can't ever like when we get to that level, it's so hard to just be like, okay, this is exciting, like this is cool. And then but then it's just like the next one. Like what am I gonna do next?
Yeah. And I think like you said earlier that you turned 30 and a bunch of stuff changed and all of that. That's the same for me. I feel like I'm finding who I truly am more now that I've like turned 30 and stuff. And a lot of people say that. I have so many girlfriends that are like the 30s are the best. And I'm like, okay. I was like, a lot of people are afraid to turn 30. I was excited because I only hear good things about 30s. And so
I I had like I went through like a couple of weeks of not being excited about turning 30. Before I was like, yeah, I'm all for getting older, but I realized my this is when I realized I need to work on my contentment because I was just like, I was excited because I thought I would be at a certain place in my life. And I
mm,
was equating it to status and accolades and all these other things. And like the other accomplishments that I have, I take for granted, like being a
yeah.
homeowner. Like, I don't care. Like, I've already done that. Like being married. I don't like, okay, that's cool. Like these are other things that a lot of people want, but it's like, even though like but I'm like, well, why am I not, like super well off in business yet? Like, why is that not my thing? So like
Mm,
that was like, and when you focus on lack, you're never gonna, so I was like, I really need to work on contentment. That's
yeah. Yeah. I see that. I could see that. Yeah, like that's kind of the same for me. Like sometimes when people like talk about what I've done or accomplishments, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I did do that." Maybe I should like remind myself everything I've accomplished in life, I guess. I don't know. That's something that I should start working on, I guess.
I'm just saying, like it's I realized because I was like, hold on, why do I even feel this way? Like, and there's always going to be people that are out there doing more, having more.
Mm,
I'm like, but no matter how far I go, I'm going to still have this problem if I don't deal with it now. I
mhm.
don't know why I have to work on all these soft skills. I, I just,
But I feel you're doing so good. I see what you post and all of that stuff too. I think it's nice. And I love what you're doing with the you're doing like a Christian like membership
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
right?
my Christ
Yeah.
driven brand. Yeah, there's like, I'm like I said, I'm in a weird transition. I actually just took, so I worked part-time in my restaurant. Well, I just took the assistant general manager position.
Oh,
Paying a
nice.
pretty decent salary for this area. So I mean, I'm not complaining about that. That's just something I haven't announced either. I'm also, by the time this comes out, I will have announced it, but I'm making a baby. So it's going to be here in January. And
Really?
yeah,
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
thank you. So it's like I'm doing all of these things at the same time. And so when I say like, I feel you on the not announcing things because I
Yeah.
haven't, I'm going to announce on my like 7-year wedding anniversary that we're having a baby. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's
it's
so
just so
exciting.
thank you. It's just like, okay, this is definitely a transitionary period. I don't know where I'm going. I'm gonna just let it happen,
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I get that. Like the last time you and I talked, you were like, "Oh, what do you see yourself in the next 5 years?" And I was like, "Oh God, I have no idea." I was like, "I want to be like have a place in New York and a place in Miami so I can travel." And then like, I don't know, I just like work really hard to do stuff and then it just happens, I guess.
And seeing you do that, I was like, when I think I commented, was like, we were talking about this. I'm like,
Yes,
it's
I
so
know.
insane to see you actually have it come to fruition. It's just like, I I was so proud of you. It's just like that
Oh,
is
thank
just
you.
awesome. Yeah, like I just and that's what I love about social is being able to still like connect with people and like
Mhm.
see where they're going. So guys, if you're listening to this, you definitely need to follow Amanda because regardless of what she ends up doing in the next couple of years, she's gonna be doing something. Like
Amen.
yeah, it's insane. So what what is like something fun you're looking forward to in the next couple of months?
So when I was saying like a bunch of transition stuff is happening, my lease ends in my apartment at the end of October. And like if you know anything about the rental markets right now in New York, they're insane. It's like the highest they've ever been in the history of New York. So I'm excited because I'm going to like release a bunch of stuff. I'm just going to be like, oh my God, I'm just letting like everything flow. But I'm going to not renew my lease and I'm going to start traveling for the next couple of months and just like yeah,
Oh my God, where are you
other
going?
things. Well, I'm gonna be in Miami, of course, and then I'm planning on going home to Washington State to visit family. And then my boyfriend, he's Brazilian, so we're talking about going to Brazil. And then my dad, he was like, "Oh, let's go to Costa." He's going to Costa Rica with his fiance, and he's like, "Come with us." So I don't know. I'm just going with it.
That's gonna be so fun, and you're gonna get so much like just different experiences. And
I know.
that's different for you because you've just
Yeah.
been like hustle grind, not travel a whole bunch,
Yeah.
you know. And I mean, at least you've got your home base in Miami.
Yeah, so my goal in within the next couple of years is to buy real estate in New York. So that's why I'm like, okay, it'll be fine. Like I'm taking it also as a sign. So like, when I first moved into my apartment, it was my dream to have my own two-bedroom apartment in Manhattan. And I got it. So I was like, okay, I did it. So this isn't the end. But the funny thing is, before I moved to New York, I was like, okay, let me travel to New York and see if I like it before I move clear across the country. And I got an Airbnb and I stayed like 2 blocks away from where I live now. So I'm like, "Oh my God, I did a complete circle." Like so I never expected to live in this neighborhood, but it's like I love my neighborhood. And before I even moved here, I stayed here for 3 weeks. So like it's kind of interesting how things always end up making a full circle or circling back and you don't really realize.
Yes. And I mean, you know so many people in New York now that it's like, and
Yeah.
you know the areas. So it's like when you do purchase real estate there, it's not going to be like you would have been if you had just been there for 3 weeks. Like you know the city, you've been there for 8 years.
Yeah.
And no, that'll be really cool. Like, but I do consider Miami like a Cuban New York, like a white Cuban New York. Granted, it's not super high skyscrapers or whatever, but it's still like faster paced
Yeah.
than other places in Florida. Um,
I really
Chicago's
like
fun
Miami.
too. Hmm?
I've never been to Chicago. I've always wanted to go to Chicago. People say Chicago's like a clean New York.
Mhm. It is. Architecture is amazing.
I
Um,
love it.
I mean, yeah, and it's not, I don't think that Chicago is as expensive as New York, but I went for the first time in April and I was like, oh, this is actually like really, it's really pretty. I mean, if you stay in the right areas,
Yeah.
there's crime everywhere, but you know that. Like
Yeah.
it's not anything to be afraid of. So
Yeah. I actually really like Miami. So before I got a place there, I was like, okay, Miami's cool. Like I never really like I don't know, I never really saw like the big hype of about it. I was like, oh, the weather's nice, the beach is nice, but I could never like see myself living there. And then before I got my place, I was driving down the street, like on the highway, and I was like, I've I was like, wow, I really like Miami. And I felt like content with being there. And I've never felt that besides being in New York. So I felt that for the first time in Miami, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be okay with like being here because I hate the cold, first of all. So that's always a nice thing to not have to be in the cold.
yeah, yeah. And so you're going to be over the next couple like these next 6 months for sure are going to be really interesting for you.
Yeah.
To just for one travel but also have this other home base that you weren't really that you wanted to have but now you're going to have for sure. You
Yeah.
know, like um and oh man, that's awesome because I say that about having a home base because like I like to travel but I like to like be in my own space too. I don't know if
Yeah,
other people are
that's
like
gonna
that.
be Yeah, that's what's going to be hard for me because, and that's one thing that's kind of scary, but I'm just like letting it happen because I hate not having control of things. So I feel like I'm not going to be in control, but I feel like that's just going to be like another piece of armor on me because I can't control everything, and being able to like have the ability to release it is, I think, going to make me stronger.
Just take it day by day. Just
Yeah.
take it day by day. I'm praying that these hurricanes don't touch anything in Miami,
Yeah.
for your sake.
Yeah.
Because yeah, that's the only thing about New York, and not New York, Florida, that I'm just like, and I used to live in Florida, so like that's why I'm like, mm.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're gonna become, you're gonna have so much like transformation in this, and then with whatever you're gonna put this into your businesses, because I know just how you are. You're gonna you're gonna come up with different lines of clothing, going to all these
Yeah.
places. It's just gonna happen.
Well, that's the nice thing about my vintage line is like I've slowly been curating over the last few years from all over the world. So like being able to travel and stuff, I think it'll, I don't know, be really cool to see the different treasures out there. So I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to use this to go discover things. And I love thrifting and antiquing and stuff like that. So
I do too. I'm such a thrifter. Like I don't buy,
I know,
like I have
I
regular
love,
clothes like that I buy brand new, but like most of my clothes are thrift store clothes because I
they're treasures. They're like, and you're by going thrifting. Okay, so for me, I grew up thrifting, and I think that's one reason why I have such a different style because like going school clothes shopping, it would be at the thrift store. And it wasn't just like the thrift store, it was like the we could only buy stuff on the half off price tags. So like if it was a Wednesday or whatever and the blue tag was half off, we could only buy what was blue. So like it wasn't just limited, it was like limited double. And so I had to like figure out a different type of style and how to style things differently and be like, I don't know, not look like I went thrifting.
how did you overcome like your money mindset?
um so I don't know. I've always had, I think it's because I grew up like more like poor, and I've just always been like big on saving money. And I don't look at the short term of things. Even when I was younger, I feel like, so entrepreneurship, I believe, is just like in our blood. And I would think of different ways to be able to make money and like buy something that I wanted. So like my first bike I bought myself because I saved up money. And I would go around and I would like sell stuff door to door, and I would like sell clothes to my neighbor friends and stuff like that. So like I just would find ways to make money and like just by selling stuff. And it's kind of funny because now that's what I do. I sell clothes. Like I'm a designer and I like have a fashion brand. So um I've never looked at things as the short term. So like my brothers, they would like buy candy and stuff like that. And I would be like, no, I'm going to save my money and actually do something bigger with it, like buy a bike or something.
I love that. That is a new thing that I learned about you when it comes to, money mindset. Because I also grew up not having much, and I like went to thrift stores and everything like that. And I love thrift stores now. But the fact that you're now like an incorporated like fashion brand owner, you were in New York Fashion Week, you're really into Bitcoin and blockchain, you and money, like it's just, it's crazy. And you've got so much more to do in, going forward.
I'm not even close to being done.
Oh no, no, you're like this is just, it's the beginning, especially like on so many new chapters in your life. So
For sure.
Amanda, I'm so proud of you. This like motivated me even more. It always does. Like
Yay, I'm glad.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. Guys, like I mentioned before, her links are in the show notes below. Definitely go follow her. Go check out what she has to offer.
Yay, thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Empowered Woman, Badass and Unfiltered podcast. If you found any value in this, please consider sharing and subscribing. Now go out and be a badass.